So guys, what's in store for the Evercade in 2022? What we're going to do in this video is have a look at what we know, and then we're going to speculate at what we think might happen in 2022. Let's get started. So hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today we're going to be looking at what's in store for the Evercade in 2022 and what we think might happen as well. So 2021 was pretty good. We got the purple handheld, which I actually think I underrated this. It's got a great screen and I've probably played this more than the actual VS. Now the VS was obviously released in 2021 for most territories, and it was really good. There was also the white version, there was a black version, the Founders Edition, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really nice console, it's well designed, it's fantastic. But what is in store for 2022? Now let's see what we actually know what's going to happen. So starting in the end of March, we're going to get the Gremlin collection, which it's not too bad. It's only got 6 games, however, but it's got this great game called Zool, which is actually really good fun to play. I think I would probably buy it for this game alone. The other games are not amazing, but Zool, it's great fun to play. It's good fast platforming action, and it's a really good blast to play. There's also Actual Soccer, which is a kind of so-so football game, which I believe it's a PlayStation version. And it's not too bad. We are also going to get the Renovation Collection, which has 12 games, so there's a lot more games on this, and there's a lot of decent variety, but no doubt the El Viento for me is probably the outstanding game on the cart, and it's really good fun. It's kind of platformer, shoot 'em up, kind of Shinobi style kind of thing, and it's really good fun to play. And there's a few other sort of decent games on the cart. There's a good couple of shooters and stuff. There's even a couple of RPGs, but unfortunately, yeah, it does have a stinker of a game in Beast Wrestler, which I would urge everyone to avoid. The least said about this, the better. So also guys, what I'd like to see through the year is maybe some sort of stable updates to the firmware for the handheld, especially as we got version 2.0, which actually had some control issues. So hopefully we get a lot more bug fixes. Well, there's a lot of issues that we really need to sort, such as the issue with sort of Mania Challenge, for example. But this version 2.0 had issues, and they immediately fixed it with 2.0.1. But I don't think it's still perfect. We definitely need some more updates. If you look at the sort of video I've done here on World Rally, which I actually just kept in my video that I've done, the controls were all wonky in version 2.0. I went left immediately and I didn't press left on the control, it just automatically went left. And I actually left it in the video because it shows what actually went wrong. You can see it happens quite a few times. The control just automatically wants to go left without me even pressing any of the buttons, which actually shows there was a major problem with the firmware 2.0. But I think it did get fixed in 2.0.1, so that's something, but we definitely need more updates going forward. You can see it in Mania Challenge. It's got a major problem with the controls and the fact that once you exit the ring, you can't enter the ring again. It doesn't matter if you're the human opponent or the computer controller, you cannot enter the ring again. Now I remember playing the original ROM, it was quite tricky, but it was possible by pushing up in front of the ring, but in this version you cannot enter the ring, so hopefully that will get sorted really soon. So looking at the Evercade VS controllers, now the wired ones are okay, they have a good 3-meter cable and they're fine. They're functional and I don't think they're bad enough to actually swap out and use a different controller. I don't like the shoulder buttons, they're a bit clicky and plasticky, but they're okay, it's an okay controller. You kind of make you wonder, will we see a wireless version of this? You'd obviously have to add in their own dongle as well in it, but you can actually use other controllers, which I've done in a video. You can use the Switch controllers, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever you see fit. You can probably add a wireless one yourself by, again, using the little sort of dongle. The 8BitDo dongle and the 8BitDo controller works perfectly fine with this, and that's absolutely fine. But you do wonder, will Evercade actually bring out their own sort of wireless controller? I'm not sure they'll concentrate on this like at the start of the year, but maybe towards the end they might actually make it. It might be a little bit it might not be the most cost efficient thing to do, but it would be interesting to see if they actually do that. Also, will they add mouse compatibility? Let's hope so, that would be really cool. So obviously last year we got the purple version of the Evercade, and it had a better screen, no doubt about it, and it was really nice. But you do wonder, will we see any more versions of the Evercade in a different colour? For example, there's probably a lot of different options you could have. I would like to see a far better screen, a full sort of HD screen would be fantastic. And you do wonder, will they bring out a version that has 2 shoulder buttons each side? Is that an option they're going to look at? That could be interesting. So guys, a little update on Roneo's Tale, which obviously we only got the demo version apparently, but it was closer to a full version that we actually did get. But absolutely love this game, I highly rate it. But the good news is that it entered final testing through December, and I would expect to see a full version of this anytime soon, possibly in the next few weeks, which will probably get updated via firmware updates on the VS, which would be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this, I really highly rate this game.
Do you play Evercade? Do you want to level up your gaming? Do you want to know the latest secrets? Then call the Evercade hotline today. Call 0845 561 5601 for all the Evercade excitement you can handle. Get all the latest news and announcements.
So I would definitely expect to see more secret codes being unleashed by Blaze throughout the year, because obviously the first 2 were a little bit, there's no way you're going to guess those codes. We're going to need help again, and I'm sure they might do updates on this phone line. But also I would expect to see some maybe more unlockable games that you use utilising cartridges. So spoiler alert, if you don't want to know this one, look away now. So usually it's all about a button combination on your D-pad, and you would unleash sort of games. This game was quite cool. Most of them have been multiplayer games right enough that it's been released so far. I would love to be able to have the ability to unlock Double Dragon, say, and it would be great to be able to save these to the VS once you've actually unlocked them, instead of having to go through the same process every time. Now these ones are just button presses, they're obviously the cart where you have to put the 2 carts in, but it would be great to have the option to save these so you don't have to go through the same rigmarole every time you actually have to play these games, which is a little bit annoying, but it would be good. So guys, before we move on to what games I think I'm going to see in 2022, what I would like to see is maybe Blaze to be attending some more events. I would love to see them attend some game expos. This was the last one we went to, which was in 2019, obviously due to COVID it's not really been happening, but they did attend the Blackpool one. I would love to see Blaze maybe making it to the Glasgow one. The Glasgow one is held at Braehead Arena, and it's a fantastic facility. It's absolutely huge, and there's all sorts of games and sort of future games there, which is brilliant. It's a massive facility. There's arcade games, there's retro games, there's retro machines, there's pinball machines, there's all sorts. I mean, it's a great event. I really enjoyed it. I've been at it quite a few times. It's massive and it's great fun, and it goes across like 2 days over the weekend, which is, if you've attended it across the UK, you will know it's such a great event and it's great fun. I would love to see them there showcasing the Evercade handhelds and VSs, and it would be great to be sort of team up and sort of give them support as well. I would love to see that. It would be really fantastic. It's a great showpiece as well. There's a lot of interest in retro gaming there. It's brilliant. As you can see, we play lots of different styles of games. It's brilliant. Okay, so that leaves us with what games will we see in 2022. Now obviously we don't really know, we're going to have a little bit of guess. I do know for sure there's a couple of cards are definite certainties for 2022. The first one being the Intellivision Collection 2. Now this kind of got confirmed in a little sort of off way, and I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. I've no idea what games are going to be included in it, and there's obviously there's a few hundred games that Intellivision had in the collection. Hopefully we'd see some more homebrew games. That would be really good, because Princess Quest was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, this one's definitely going to happen. Also, Indie Heroes Collection 2, I think with the popularity of Indie Heroes 1, there's no doubt we're going to see an Indie Heroes Collection 2. That's a certainty. This is where Evercade should be at for me. Now what games will we see in Indie Heroes Collection 2? Now I suspect we might see Tapeworm, which is from the makers of Flea, Low-Tech Games, and Tapeworm Disco Puzzle is an absolutely brilliant game. It's not quite like Flea, although even it uses a lot of the same graphic styles as Flea. It's kind of more of a puzzle game, and it's absolutely brilliant. Another 100 levels of a puzzle element with the sort of Flea sort of graphics chucked in. It's brilliant. I really would hope that we see this game. It's absolutely fantastic. Other games I would like to see are Grid Picks. Obviously this is a Commodore 64 game. I downloaded a few recently from Carlton Hadley, and it's, oh wow, absolutely brilliant. It's a kind of puzzle game and I really enjoy it. It's brilliant. He's actually made quite a few games recently for the Commodore 64, and I'd love to see that on the Evercade. Millie and Molly, for example, absolutely brilliant sort of little platform puzzle game. Now obviously we don't have Commodore 64 or Amiga, for example. It would be great to have them through 2022. It would open up a massive library of new games that we could have. Not really sure what the issues are, I guess it's down to licensing, but it would be so good. There's a lot of great sort of indie games out there like Run and Gun for Commodore 64, absolutely fantastic little platform game, and I think playing these on a sort of Evercade handheld, for example, absolutely brilliant. Maybe one day we'll see Spectrum, Commodore 64, Amstrad, Amiga on the Evercade at some point. It would be really good, it would be fantastic. So other collections I think we might see sequels to would be the Atari Lynx, maybe a collection 3, because there's a lot of games that we could still have in the Atari Lynx collection. It would be fantastic. Maybe some homebrew games as well. Same with Pico, there's a lot of games out there that we're not seeing yet. Pico have sort of been purchasing a lot of back catalogue of games, which I'll show later in the video. Some potential. I think we could possibly see a Pico collection 3. Now what else could we see? We could possibly see a System 3 collection. Obviously this is more Commodore 64 stuff, but there was versions of these on sort of different formats. But ideally, if we get Commodore 64, System 3 are a company that's actually still sort of trading at the moment, unlike a lot of other sort of companies that have went bust over the years, but System 3 are still going. Also I'd like to see a Konami collection, whether it be arcade or console version, who knows, but that would be massive to see sort of Konami games on the Evercade, absolutely amazing. Now I'd also like to see a Taito collection, that would be amazing. There's an amazing amount of games here that would be fantastic. Fingers crossed they're actually speaking to them. You don't really see these games on that many different systems, so it would be quite cool, like Rainbow Islands, Bubble Bobble, New Zealand Story, Chase HQ, Football Champ. Some of these were arcadey, but yeah, talking about arcade, what about Sega Arcade? And that would be fantastic. I would love, I'm not necessarily wanting to see a console sort of Sega thing, but I would really love to see the arcade Sega. Now I'm going to show some videos here that I've sort of recently showed on my channel. There's some of the games that I would love to see, like Afterburner for example. I think that would be really cool. There's a lot of great games here. I think this would be brilliant to actually get. Now there's a lot of other sort of arcade carts that I would like to see. Maybe we could see Ireme, maybe Capcom. I mean, I think it might be tough to get some of these companies. They might be too expensive to sort of license, but it would be really good. There's a lot of different companies out there. I suspect we might see more arcadey, sort of like Renovation for example, and Gailco that you maybe never heard of, which might just pull out the bag and you think, oh wow. And ideally that would be great, because usually these are games you've never heard of, never played of, and you might see some of these hidden gems. But yeah, Sega Arcade Cart would be fantastic. When that Golden Axe would be so nice to do on the Evercade VS, I think. Fingers crossed that happens. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have been talking to Sega. I don't know how easy that would be and how cheap it would be to license. I guess it's not going to be cheap, but fingers crossed. I think the Evercade really does need that big name to sort of get things moving. I think it would bring a lot more people on board if they see some of these big names getting involved. I think it would be absolutely mind-blowing. So guys, speaking of System 3, it kind of made me wonder about all the other UK companies that I kind of have had over the years that went bust. Now I'd love to see System 3. There had got to be an option, the fact that they're still actually trading. Sort of Last Ninja series and the IK Plus was just absolutely mind-blowingly brilliant. Now, IK Plus actually had a Game Boy Advance version and it was actually quite good. Not sure if it's System 3 that hold the license for it, like Archer McLean maybe is the one we need to contact, but absolutely great game. Didn't really matter what version you played. This version was a little bit quicker, it's obviously a little bit more zoomed in with being advanced, but it was still great. Then it made me think, what other companies did we have out there? We could have Activision, we could have Domark, IDOS, Core Design, obviously they were mostly all the one company, Midway, Ocean, DMA Design. I know a lot of these companies are completely defunct. DMA Design were the sort of makers of Grand Theft Auto and Lemmings, I think. I don't know who owns these rights anymore. Obviously Blaze have to sort of do a lot of digging to figure those out. You could have US Gold, obviously we've just talked about Taito and Thalamus. Thalamus were obviously more Commodore 64, but there's a lot of names out there. Unfortunately, most of these companies have went bust. Some of them haven't. It's really just trying to figure out who the heck owns the licenses to all these great games that are still out there that we would love to see on the Evercade. Now, finger crossed we might see some of them. I know Blaze are working really hard and trying their best, and they've actually brought on board a lot of great stuff so far. Like Gremlin, for example, they were obviously big names, and Bitmap Brothers were big Amiga and Atari ST sort of guys. Absolutely brilliant. I'm sure we will see a lot more of that style through 2022. So guys, a place to look for potential indie games are itch.io. It's a site basically that has lots of indie games that get uploaded in all different types of format, from NES, Commodore 64, Spectrum, everything you can think of basically is sort of put on here. And there's a lot of free games here, and you can download them and there's some that you actually have to pay for, but it's a great site for retro games. Now, Retro Souls is obviously on here as well, and they've made a lot of games that have appeared on the Evercade, and there's a couple of new games on here that could be potential for Evercade going forward. Like you've got Gravibots there. Obviously we've seen all these games already on the Evercade, so potentially I think there's a few games here that could appear, like Arcos could appear, maybe. It's obviously a PC version, but more like to see this one here called Tourmaline, which is a sort of Sega Mega Drive or Genesis sort of kind of game. I'm not really sure what type of game it is, but it's definitely a potential one we could see on an Indie Hero cart or even a Mega Cat Studios cart. Now guys, another great site to check out is PiePacker. Now this site has lots of games. It's free to join, you can play it, just create yourself an account, you can play 6 great games, which one of them is Micromages, which is a NES game, and it's like one of these games you just keep, the screen keeps scrolling up and you just need to keep going. It's really good. I hope we see this one. It would be fantastic on the Evercade. There's loads of games here that obviously already appear on the Evercade, and there's a lot of games here that I think are massive potential to appear. There's a lot of Pico games on here. There's a few arcade games that I've never heard of, a few sort of indie games like Witch and Whiz. You think they're all sort of relatively new. There's NES games, Mega Drive games, PlayStation games, and you think these are definitely high potential games. Alien Breed Tower Assault. This is a DOS version. Not really sure if we can get DOS versions on Evercade, but this game is fantastic. I would really love to see Alien Breed. Wolfang, it's a kind of an arcade game. Not sure what the company name was here, but it kind of looks quite cool. It might be a possibility one of these companies for the future arcade cart perhaps, but I would strongly recommend having a look at this sort of website. It's really good fun to play. You can play keyboard, or you can play sort of with a joypad, for example. There's a lot of sort of cool arcade games, mostly console versions that are on here, and there's a lot of definite potential. I would put money on it that we will see some of these games in a future Evercade cart in some way, shape or form. Sort of looking through it, I think there's a few PlayStation games here, there's a few arcade games, there's a few games that you'll recognise instantly. Look at this one, Micro Maniacs Racing. That's obviously a kind of a unlicensed Micro Machines style game, but it's with people, and it's a 4-player multiplayer, and then that is screaming for me to be a VS game. Now if we don't see that in a cart going forward, I'd be really, really surprised. It's a PlayStation game, it can definitely play. Here's another sort of PlayStation sort of game, which is kind of looks like a kind of beat 'em up. Never heard of it though. There's a few Pico games. There's a Data East. Here's an arcade Data East. Maybe this could be another game. It looks kind of like a speedball type style game. Oh wow, oh yes, and there's Thunderhoop Strikes Back. This is the second Thunderhoop game, which Pico also own the rights to. Now this would be really interesting if it could actually run on the Evercade VS. It's quite a sort of difficult game to run on sort of emulators at the moment. Other ones like Space, I think it's Space Gubs. It looks really cool, it's very fun. I've played this on other videos that I've done on PiePacker if you wanted to check that out. There's some of these games I've never actually heard of, like Ziggurat, looks like a kind of a hoverboard style game. Glover, another PlayStation game. And this is another Data East arcade game. I think that's the second one playing. It actually looks really, really good fun. I think we've definitely seen a lot of potential games here that I'd be really surprised if we don't see these on Evercade. The fact that I guess these games may be fairly easy to license that we're seeing them here. Pico now own 40 Winks, which was a PlayStation game. Didn't know that. They're obviously purchasing a heck of a lot of license games, which is really good. Here's another sort of NES game, which is Nebs and Debs, which is kind of good fun. It looks really good. ColecoVision Sydney Hunter. This is a SNES version of Sydney Hunter, which is fairly new version. I think that would be fantastic. Sydney Hunter was a lot of fun, which obviously appeared on many different formats over the years. Was it in television and ColecoVision? Another Pico game, and it's a Game Boy Advance game, which looks really good. Is that Blender Brothers? Wow. I think some of these games have got to be surefire certainties to appear on future Evercade carts. Maybe like Indie Hero carts perhaps, or even like Pico themselves will sort of do it. Some kind of bubble game. Morph Cat games? Maybe that could be a future Evercade sort of cart, who knows. There's a few games here that are really quite cool. They're all NES and SNES, so they could play absolutely no problem. Obviously you've got the Play Into the World Soccer Kid, which we already have, which is great. I honestly highly recommend this site. We've got Loaded, which is interplay game. Maybe we'll see more interplay. Oh, and Pico have the rights to Zero Tolerance. Now if you don't know, this was a Mega Drive Genesis first person shooter game, which was it wasn't bad, but there wasn't a lot of first person shooters on the Mega Drive Genesis, so it was kind of almost like a unique style game. I definitely thought about this game previously. I would love to see it on the Evercade. It's sort of PlayStation Invasion from Beyond. Never heard of it. A lot of unknown sort of titles that Pico sort of picked up here and there. Descent 2 and sort of interplay. Again, interplay might be another possibility for a cart. Never really thought we'd see more interplay, to be honest, but there's definitely a couple of possibilities here. Loaded was quite a good game, pretty bloody right enough. Here we've got Star Versus, which is a kind of a NES Asteroid style shoot 'em up. Flip Shot, Top Racer we already have, which is really good. Here we've got a SNES game. Oh, honestly, this site is absolutely fantastic, and amazingly it's actually free to join. You have to obviously play on your computer or online, but absolutely fantastic site, really highly recommended. Now this is also a pleasant surprise. Street Racer was a massive favourite of mine on the Commodore 64 right enough, but this is the Mega Drive version, and Pico won the rights to that as well, which I think that'd be fantastic. I think surely we may see another Pico Collection 3, which would be absolutely brilliant. That's got to be a certainty, I would have said. Not sure, never heard of that one. The massive Xeno Crisis. Super Pawn, Mega Cat Studios, now there you go. A new game here that we could see on the Evercade, another Mega Cat Studios Collection 3. I hope so. I've really enjoyed all the Mega Cat games sort of carts so far. A new sort of version of Pong that was on the PlayStation. Maybe, who knows. Can't be any worse than the version we already have. So guys, that was our look at what might be in store for the Evercade in 2022. I think we might see some of these games that we've covered in this video. If you've got any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Let me know what you would like to see, what you think we should see, arcade-wise, console-wise. Will we see Dreamcast, N64? Will we get an Activision cart? Will we see ColecoVision, etc, etc? The possibilities are completely endless, which I think that's what makes it quite exciting, that what's in store for the new year and maybe beyond. So guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.